Okay, hello everyone. My name is Camille Razabal, and today I'm going to talk about my pedagogical experiences that I have been going through the several practicums that the university has provided me. Okay, so to start with, I'm highlighting the importance and the influence of the emotional aspect in here. The positive discipline dimension and the multiple intelligences theory is basic for introducing my experiences concerning these pedagogical experiences. And of course, the practices that I have been going through my whole process of becoming a near future teacher. Okay? From my perspective, these three approaches have been of great significance when I had to analyze these pedagogical experiences. From a general point, most of the time I assisted to my practicums, I did not see any of these dimensions that I previously mentioned. I saw that there was a lack of emotions and positive discipline management inside the classroom, and the intention of applying or going further or exploring the multiple intelligences was left behind. So, in this video, I am going to share and comment on 3 positive and 3 negative situations or moments that I have experienced as a teacher. So, I would like to start with the positive ones. So, yeah. In the first year of my study program, I had to complete my first experience assisting to a practicum. As a first year student, I was asked to look for a school and go face-to-face classes as an observer. Of course, as it was my first experience being inside the classroom as a teacher, not as a student, I personally set some learning goals in order to make of this experience an enjoyable one. However, since I was only an observer, the purpose was to deal with the atmosphere of the classroom, the students' behavior, and of course to write down everything I consider essential for my pedagogical experience. This in particular was not seen as a genuine teacher experience, like acting as if you were the teacher, but it helped me a lot to realize how a classroom works on the inside. It also helped me to be aware of how it feels being a teacher for the first time in an authentic environment. Then I have the second positive pedagogical experience, and another pedagogical experience that I would like to share with you and that I consider positive is when I gave some English private lessons to a kid named Benjamin, who was in a 7th grade from Ñuñoa. This experience was absolutely enjoyable and rewarding since I had the freedom to experiment with new pedagogical strategies and methods. For instance, I remember that I tried to apply the positive discipline regarding the positive reinforcement of this approach. And why did I decide to apply this method? It was because this kid, in particular, had a low self-esteem that impeded him to learn, in a proper manner. And the reason why I decided to apply this technique of positive reinforcement has, of course, some theoretical background. As it is reported in the Impact of Positive Discipline in the Classroom, 2018, the positive invitational discipline invites the creation of an environment full of positive relationships that encourages the learners not only to think critically but also favorably about themselves and their classmates. I was always trying to tell Benjamin, "You're doing good," or making thumbs up, or even just smiling when he was committed to his homework. And when he was feeling sad, I was always telling him, you can do better, or we can have a special time to talk about it. And yeah, from my experience, it worked pretty well. The third positive pedagogical experience, and the last one that I would like to comment on, is related to the emotional aspect applied inside the classroom. Well, I remember that the last year I had to assist to a public school and to participate not only as an observer, but also as a teacher. And when I first attended to the classes, I realized that there was, a great amount of students who misbehave, or students who apparently did not want to be in the classroom, nor even learning English. So I decided that if I had a little free time to talk with them, as a teacher, but also from a human perspective, I would do it. So when the time had come, I only sit in a chair and I started to share with them who I was, my purpose on being there, inside the classroom, why I was there, and some funny things that had happened to me when teaching. um, after a while, the students started to share with me some personal aspects that I'm not going to share in this video because I consider them confidential. And this aspect concerned, of course, their lives, and I was quite impressed on how they expressed themselves. This little activity was not conducted in English, but in Spanish, with the only purpose of talking and know more about them. From my perspective, this situation deals a lot with the affective factors inside the classroom. According to Affective Factors Influence Classroom Learning from 1965, the emotional and affective factors are highly associated with a social, personal, emotional behavior that concerns the educator's actions and the student's response, creating an environment full of mutual interaction and understanding from both sides. Well, these were my 3 positive pedagogical experiences, and now I'm going to share with you the 3 negative pedagogical experiences that I've been going through. Okay, so well, I am 70% sure that almost every teacher has had more negative pedagogical experiences than positive ones. And I remember once that I was in a public school, attending as an observer again, and the reaction of the teacher concerning the students' misbehavior was kind of, confrontational and from my opinion, unfriendly. It might be that the teacher's attitude was one of the causes of the students' misbehavior, because the teacher was not as warm as I expected. According to Ripple, from the Affective Factors Influence Classroom Learning from 1965, there is evidence from research done in classroom setting to support the notion that students react positively to teacher behavior characterized as warm and nurturing. This is a quote that I got from this book, Affective Factors Influence Classroom Learning, and I found it really interesting and really really close to our reality as teachers. In my experience, most of the time within the classroom, the students were behaving badly, not paying attention to a teacher, sticking to their cell phones, and even being rude with the teacher. So in this case, the educator in charge invited me to deal with this situation. But sadly, I couldn't do it. In that moment, I was feeling really insecure of how expressing myself in order to calm them down. Um, the emotions or the feelings that encountered my body at that moment were quite varied. I remember that I couldn't react at all how I would have liked to, and it made of this experience a real difficult one. However, However, I take this situation as a part of my learning process of being a near future teacher. Now I'm going to share with you my second negative pedagogical experience. Well, this experience that I had as a teacher and that I found in, from my perspective, quite unfortunate, was related to the communication and the cooperative working among teachers. This is not an experience inside the classroom, but it's an outside experience, but in the collective of the teachers. Sorry. From most of the experiences that I have had as an educator, the interaction among teachers was mainly conveyed on the greetings, say, hi, how you doing, how your day has been going, etc. However, I never came, across a situation in which the teachers shared about their students' current situations. So I decided to ask the teacher in charge that I had at that moment of my practicum if there were moments they could share on their own experiences as teachers, or even to comment on the students' situation, as I said before. And, well, I, I remember that she told me that not really. That was what she told me. Not really. They mainly talked about the activities they proposed or made, regardless of the students' needs. Yeah, that was kind of really unfortunate for me. And she also added that being a teacher is not as easy as she thought before starting this, the English pedagogy. It implies, she told me that it implies loneliness and mostly working alone when there is a lack of communication and, interaction between colleges. And the third and the last negative pedagogical experience that I would like to share is when I tried to apply positive discipline in one of my last attendances to the third practicum. I remember that this happened the last year when I tried to apply this approach inside the classroom in a public school. Okay, so I remember that the teacher asked me to create or apply an activity so as to participate as the teacher in charge of the learners. Okay, at first I thought that this would be very difficult because I thought that the students would not pay attention and everything. Also, the environment of the classroom was quite rough for me. In that moment, I decided to apply a simple activity concerning their context in the classroom. As I said before, this context was really strange and new. I was in a totally unexplored situation. So, as I said, they misbehaved a lot. So I determined to create some straightforward rules as a way to apply positive discipline, in order for them to have a little step for a future positive discipline. However, this oh, however this didn't work as I expected. Well, the students didn't care at all about the rules. They were not looked they were not looked interested in creating them, although also until the moment in which the students did not pay, they not pay attention at all. They were not interested in my activity, and I felt really sad because of that. So the teacher decided to stop my activity, and that what happened. That is what happened. I consider this experience not as a mistake. Well, after thinking about this experience, I do not consider it as a mistake, but a way to learn that sometimes there are many factors that affect on the teacher's performance. For instance, the teacher's attitude, the environment or the atmospheres in which the teaching and learning process is taking place, also the available resources, and why not the students' different behaviors, and so on. Okay, guys, so this was my last negative pedagogical experience, and yeah, that was my video concerning my pedagogical experiences again, that I have been going through the different practicums that I have assisted. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and take care, please, because of this quarantine circumstance. And last but not least, these are the sources that I used for supporting my pedagogical practices, and supporting my experiences too. Is Ripple and Moisu, Affective Factors Influence Classroom Learning, and the Impact of Positive Discipline in Learning Process, guys. So that was my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, please. Bye.